Everybody has their quirks and their routines and the things that they do that maybe some think are odd, maybe some think are genius, but sometimes there are these things that are routines that actually end up saving us money. So in this video, I thought it would be fun to tell you about the things that we routinely do that honestly save us thousands of dollars, and they just are now unconscious habits. So let's talk about them. Before we get started, if you are new here, my name is Jennifer, and on this channel I talk about things that we've learned over our time of myself being in debt in my 20s to where we are now that have helped us to save money and hopefully build financial independence, and right now navigate through this huge, crazy market inflation and help us hopefully come out okay on the other side. So I think it's valuable to share our experiences, what has worked for us, and maybe it can help you out as well. So if any of that interests you, then feel free to hit click, if I can speak, on that subscribe button down below. One of the things that saves us a lot of time, frustration, heartache, and money is utilizing our Google Calendar for things that will cost us money if not checked and if not maintained. All right, so hear me out. So we utilize our Google Calendar to remind us monthly or every 6 months or whatever it may be of things that we need to do. For instance, checking for water leaks, changing the air filter. We usually do those on the same day, and we go around with a flashlight, check under all the sinks, and guess what? One time we found a leak. We saved ourselves from some rotting wood and replacing a cabinet and some flooring and who knows what else by catching that. Something that people just don't necessarily think on a normal basis. And we probably wouldn't remember on a normal basis either, but by utilizing our Google Calendar for it, it helps us. Checking your net worth, making sure you schedule your dentist appointments, making sure you maintain your vehicle. If it's not something where you go over 3,000 or 6,000 miles, you still need to do a yearly whatever maintenance, doing that. Whatever it is that you know are things that are going to benefit you that you may forget, putting those in a calendar to remind yourself of them. I have talked this one until I am as blue in the face as my shirt is, and that is meal planning. And let me tell you, over the last year, I've changed jobs, and my schedule, and now that my daughter's in school, things are wonky, meaning I'm still trying to get my legs stable underneath me. It's hard, and it's a change in life, but meal planning, there was a couple of months when I didn't do it. And you know what happened? I spent a whole lot of money. We ate out more. I had a whole lot of wasted food. And I realized again how dumb it was for me not to meal plan. Now, that doesn't mean you have to meal plan monthly, but at least meal planning weekly, going through and setting up a calendar and saying Sunday through Saturday, here's what I'm having or what I plan to have each night. Some of you may say that's too regimented or you want more flexibility. Okay, that's completely up to you. It may not work for you. It's fantastic for our family because one of us knows what's happening, so we don't have to ask the other. One of us, if they get home early, can go ahead and start whatever is on the calendar. And then we know what we also have for leftovers. So for us, saving money is also not eating or taking leftovers. And because of that, that plays into our weekly planning. So we make, number one, meals that are easy to be leftover, meaning reheat well. 2, we buy enough so we have those leftovers. And then 3, we know what we're eating that next day with the leftovers. It just kind of works. But meal planning, I can tell you now, experience it. I went back to not using it for a couple of months because I just didn't have time to do it. Life got nuts. And I now realize how important it is to take that time, that 20-30 minutes, set it aside and do it because it is a huge savings. On that same note, grocery shopping weekly. When I wasn't planning for those couple of months, I didn't know what to buy. So then I would inevitably not have something and have to go back out. So again, I noticed the typical things that weekly grocery shopping as a routine, as a habit, is something I grew up with. And my husband, I always tell a story, when I first met him, he would go to the grocery store for every single meal. And that was because I think his family, when he was growing up, lived right next to a grocery store. So it was fine. It was not right next, but within, I don't know, 1 minute from a grocery store, driving distance. So that they just stopped and got what they needed. But for us, it wasn't beneficial. The grocery store at the time was 30 minutes away, and he would drive, to there and back, and frugal, very frugal on many things. And I was like, hey, do you realize how much you're spending on groceries? So weekly grocery shopping is just one of those things that's going to save you time, because you're not going to have to stop during the middle of the week, stress of stopping with everybody else at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, then buying the rotisserie chicken instead of eating the grilled chicken that you were going to make. All because you needed 1 gallon of milk, which was at the back of the store, because you forgot to actually put it down on your list earlier in the week. One of the other things that we have, it's just a habit, is paying cash. And when I say pay cash, meaning we have the money to pay it. We don't go into debt. I was in debt in my 20s. And like stuff in collections debt, right? And then my husband and I got out of it. My husband and I have built ourselves up at this point, and we paid cash for our last vehicle. Now, that was the only vehicle we've paid cash for. Before then, 10 years ago, we did finance a car, but we paid it off quickly. So as we've gone along, we've just realized that the waiting and the saving is much more beneficial. And it's just one of those things that's a routine habit for us. If there's something we want and we don't have the cash for it, we don't get it. We don't do it. For instance, we painted the house. Well, we waited till there was a bonus coming in and utilized that money to paint the house. It's not that we didn't have it. We just weren't going to dip into our emergency fund, right? So not going into debt, we weren't going to put it on a credit card. We weren't going to finance it. Those things help us. And it's just one of our kind of boundaries is probably a good way to explain it. So with saving money, I think one of the things, if I go back to my 20s, that was my biggest cause for overspending was shopping, and doing it for fun, to impress people, and because it was something to do. And I know a lot of people do that, and it's because we see all these things on social media. We think we need to be them. We think we need to be like them. And you really don't, because people really are not paying attention to you. As much as people want to think something is about them, it's really not. Because people are more in their own head than they are worried about what you're wearing, unless you're, wearing something that's covered in paint going into a professional job setting. Okay. Or you look like you rolled around in the, played in the muddy puddle with Peppa Pig. I'm just saying, people don't care. So shopping less, we don't go do it for fun. And what I found was so interesting is when you stop doing it and you take the power away from what it brought you or what you thought it brought you, then you actually don't like it anymore. I do not like to go shopping. I don't like it. I don't mind going and browsing a bit, but I don't find as much joy as I used to in it. Now, I might get some booze from this, but that's fine. It's not you eating it, it's me. But we eat boring meals. It's just a habit. For years, I would try to do all the fun Pinterest things, and then what you figure out from Pinterest is that half the time you might like it, half the time it might turn out the way it looks in the Pinterest thing. Half the time, half of the ingredients are things you would never use any other time. You have to find them at a specialty store, and just putting the entire thing together takes 2 hours for the 10 minutes you're going to eat it, and the expectation of what it was going to taste like is nowhere near what it actually tastes like. Does anybody sound like that? So, you know what? I don't see what in the world is wrong with eating good, fine, yummy, boring meals. What is wrong with spaghetti and salad? What is wrong with a bowl of chili? If you mix it up and you have, let's say, 10 to 14 meals, and pretty much there are 10 to 14 meals that every family kind of rotates through. If somebody wants to complain that it's boring, Well, it's usually not the person paying for the food. It's the little ones, right? Try to maybe, I don't know, spice it up with something fun or interesting for dessert every once in a while. One of the big things nowadays, as you can say, are subscriptions. So everything's a subscription, right? Whereas before you could probably look at the things that you were buying and, it was all right there in front of you and you could really evaluate your expenditures, but we review our subscriptions often, and I think you should. This is one of those things that's kind of turned into like auto pay, out of sight, out of mind. And people don't pay as much attention to their bank statements. So Netflix, Hulu, Spotify, I don't know, whatever XYZ, little $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $30 here, there, and everywhere that is automatically set up to come out, auto pay. You don't look at it. You don't remember that you're no longer using Audible. You're no longer watching anything on Hulu because you finished the season of whatever it was you wanted to get it for in the first place. And without reviewing them and taking a look at them, and hey, put this on your Google Calendar too. Every month, or probably not every month, I wouldn't do that, but like every quarter, every 3 months, put a note to say, check your subscriptions. Write down all your subscriptions, list them out from, give them a score from 1 to 3. 1, you use it all the time. 3, you never use it. And go through and see which ones you're still using or which ones you need to get rid of. If you don't keep those things in check, they will get out of control. So this is a big one for us. So the last one is kind of double, okay? Maintain a list. So we maintain a list. I have said this, I've done this for years and I've said it for a long time, but I maintain a list on my notes app and it's got things that I need, I want, and then it also has gift ideas. So this is a big gift one. Throughout the year, I listen and I see and I think of something that would be a good gift idea. I put it in the notes app, in the list. Because inevitably, by the time somebody's birthday or a holiday rolls around, my brain is going to go, oh gosh, can't think of a single thing to get that person. But 6 months ago, I did have a really good idea. And because I didn't write it down, I've lost it, right? That's why the Notes app is good to have. So again, with the list, if you have a list of the things you need or you want. So for example, you want a new black pair of dress pants. You need a new pair of running sneakers. The next time you are out shopping, you can go directly to those things rather than just browsing around and end up with a cheetah print cardigan, which was never on your list and you really didn't want, and then crap, you actually should have been in the shoe department looking for those tennis shoes. Now, with the list, maintaining it, keeping it up, writing the things down when they come to your attention. That's why your phone is basically attached to your ear, not your ear, your finger at this point. They used to say your cell phone was attached to your ear. Now it's not. It's attached to your fingers. Now it's attached to your fingers. That is the place probably to keep those lists. Now, on that same token, shopping with a list, going with a list. Obviously the grocery store, because I've already explained how that kind of went out the window. But shopping with a list anywhere you go, anytime you go. If you're out running errands, they say batch errands is a good habit. Check out your list. Maybe you needed a new set of acrylic paints because that's something you love to do, and you're going to be over near the craft store because you're getting your oil changed. Fantastic! 2 birds, 1 stone. So tell me down below in the comments, what are the routines, the habits that may not be everyday habits, but the things that you do that are subconscious, that save you a lot of money that could benefit others. Please put those down in the comments below. Thank you so much for spending your precious time with me. I greatly appreciate it, and I hope to see you again soon.